Welcome to Purpose Culture, and we are so excited that you stepped foot into our practice space. Whether you stumbled across us or you're here on purpose, we welcome you. We're really excited to start this space specifically for growing, for learning in community, and we are just thrilled to be bringing practices to you, and not just practices that we will be guiding, but practices that other yoga instructors and other fitness and health experts will be joining in. So we are just thrilled that you're here and excited to get into the myofascia today. We're going to be doing about a 10-minute video on the different parts of our body. We're going to be going over about 7 of them. And myofascia, if you don't know, is the fine tissue that surrounds our bones, our nerves, and our vessels. And a lot of times these can kind of have these little threads that weave together and create the myofascia. And so a lot of times rolling that out can give us a lot of relief of pain, can give us mobility. It can also help our range of motion. And so today, as we begin, disclaimer first and foremost is that I am not a doctor. I am not a physical therapist. I am a yoga instructor who has taken trainings and learned about this, but I am in no fashion an expert in this area. So please, before you get started, before you do any of this, seek the counsel of a doctor and make sure that this is something that you could benefit from. We don't want anybody getting hurt. And so please do that first before you decide to do something like this. But my hope for us is that we'll be able to relieve some pain, we'll be able to get some good mobility going, and really reap the benefits of this practice. And so, like I said, we're going to be doing 7 different postures in our body that we're going to be placing the myofascial balls in those different places and rolling out a little bit, and really just using the motion of our body and our intuition to listen to ourselves and when we should stop and when we should continue. So you'll need a couple of things today. You'll need a mat or a towel or a blanket, whatever feels most comfortable for you. If you don't have a mat, then a towel or a blanket, or if you have a mat and a towel or a blanket sounds much better, then feel the freedom to grab that. We'll also need a block or a couple of books, so maybe 2 to 3 books, or a box that maybe has some things in it that it can be used as it's kind of a elevator. And then we'll need myofascial balls. These are cork. But you can also use tennis balls, you can also use racquetball balls, or anything that has a little bit of give in it. All right, so let's get started. We're gonna start on our back. We're gonna slide that block or those books to the back of the mat because we'll be using those as well. And let's get started. So on our back, bend your knees and then lower the back in towards the earth. And then just notice how you feel in space. Kind of teeter-totter the body along the mat or your blanket. Feel the rooting in of the feet. Maybe the palms are on the ground. And just close the eyes for a moment and notice. Notice how you feel in your body. Notice your breath. And we'll take a couple breaths here. And then as we begin with our first posture, we're going to begin with the myofascial balls place them on the front, right by your heart. Okay, so right here at the front of your body, you're gonna feel what this feels like on the front of your body. We're gonna place them on the back, so the back heart. So exactly where these are placed, we're gonna place them right there. So go ahead and arch the spine and press through the back of your head, lifting the back, and then place those myofascial balls right between the shoulder blades. And then settle in a little bit, maybe doing a little bit of adjustment to the sacrum or the balls if you need to. Push them up a little bit. And just notice, you're going to be the observer of your practice today. Your intuition and how your body is feeling is your guide today. So when your body says stop, then that's where you stop. So just notice how your body feels here. Notice the myofascial balls on the different areas of your body on your back, and maybe roll down a little bit, arching the spine a little bit, and then placing the spine back in neutral. Okay, we'll do that a couple more times. And just notice, and notice if you find a spot like I did on my right side, you can kind of lean in and maybe bring your shoulders right to left. And then take some deep breaths as you lean in. And then come back to center. At any point in time, if you'd like a little extra time on any different parts, feel that freedom to pause the video and go ahead and continue on for as long as you would like or you feel like your body needs. So we're going to arch the spine again, lift the chest, press through the back of the head, and release both of those balls. And then release the back onto the ground nice and slow. And just notice. Notice how the back feels. Notice how the body feels now that the spine is kind of glued in towards your mat. And take some breaths. Good. That's really good for our backs. Hold a lot of tension in our backs. So we're going to be coming now down to the sacrum. So right below the sacrum, you have the pelvic bone, and it kind of makes a like two little humps, and you'll notice at the top of your glutes there's like a soft squishy part. That's where we're going to place the ball. So you're going to place your heels first on the ground and then press the heels to bring the pelvic bone up, and then go ahead and place both of those balls right below that bone, the cushy side, and then go ahead and place the hands off to the side. And notice as you press into the heels and you lift, right? There's a little bit less pressure, and then as you let the sacrum sink into the balls, there's a little bit more pressure. So it just depends on where you're at, what you would prefer. And we're gonna rock and roll our hips side to side. And then again, that noticing piece of noticing where your body is in space, noticing where the balls are against that lower portion, and leaning in and stopping and kind of maybe even doing some circles or smaller back and forth motions, or even the up and down where you arch the spine a little bit and then tuck the tailbone just a slight bit, and you'll feel kind of that rock and roll kind of forward and back motion. Good. And again, that freedom to pause and to stay here for a little bit longer, but I'm going to keep going because I'm trying to keep this video under 10 minutes. So press through the heels, lift the pelvic bone up, and then release the balls, release the sacrum back down towards the ground, and kind of press the sacrum in towards the ground, slight tilt of the tailbone, and then release. Good, and then just notice how that feels. Releasing the toes to the ground, maybe you even shift the knees right to left, to kind of just be an observer of what that feels like. All right, and then now we're going to bring our block or our books that we slid to the back, and we're going to place that right underneath our head. So lift the head. You can also straighten the legs out if you'd like to. And you're going to bring that right where right at the kind of like the base of your skull. So at the base, kind of like in line with where your earlobes are, that's where you're gonna place that block. And you're going to bring both of my other one rolled off, both of those myofascial balls right underneath those kind of lumps in the skull, right where the back of our head is. And bring both of those three fingers on the sides, and you're gonna kind of wrap your elbows around the front body. And just pause right here, take some nice big breaths in. This is really good for migraines, really good for headaches, good to maybe pair some of your essential oils if you're an essential oil lover with this, and in a dark room is really, really good for the recovery of maybe a headache or a migraine. And first we're going to bring our chin to our chest, and you'll feel those balls kind of press on to the bottom part of the skull. And then lift the chin, and you'll notice them over that part of your skull. Good, and so we're just gonna keep going just like that. Keeping those balls in place with the fingers. You might need to adjust them, maybe lift the head a little bit. And then you can bring your head to the right and to the left, almost like you're shaking no, nice and slow. Good. And then notice maybe where you want to go back to and lean into that a little bit, taking some breaths in and out. And that freedom to pause the video if you'd like to. We'll take one more round of breath right here. And then as we exhale, lift the head, release both the block and the myofascial balls. And then let the back of the skull on the back of the head, maybe shake the head no, shake the head yes. Good. And then we're going to come all the way up into seated position. Bringing your block and one of your myofascial balls with you. We're going to bend the right knee and straighten the left leg. Good. So now I've got all my dog hair all over my legs. We're going to bring one of the myofascial balls right at the back of our calf. And you're going to dorsiflex your left foot. Keep this right foot bent. And you're going to press through your palms. So fingertips facing your bottom. Press through the palms to lift the bottom from the ground. Keep that left foot dorsiflex. And you're going to roll the ball all the way to just above the back of the knee and then all the way down. Now, if this is too much on your arms, feel the freedom to release yourself. And all you need to do is dorsiflex, and you can kind of roll forward and back as much as you can get. And then you can always move the ball down a little bit more or up a little bit more. And just keep rolling. You can roll side to side if you'd like to. You can also find a spot maybe that's a little bit more tender or needs a little bit more care and attention. And you can dorsiflex your foot and then plantar flex your toe. And then just notice how that feels in the body. Notice how that relieves maybe some pain, or maybe it might cause, if it does cause any pain or numbing, remember to release that. We don't want to, we are being intuitive, listening to our body when our body tells us to stop. That's where we want to stop. All right. So you can pause the video to go ahead and go to the other side. I'm going to go onto our feet. So we're going to sit in easy pose, and we're going to take that block off to the side, and one of the balls, we only need one from here on out. And a lot of times, a lot of people have issues on the bottom of their feet. So again, this is after we've talked to doctors if you have issues, and take their lead on that. But for those of us who don't experience as much pain, or maybe we experience occasional pain, this is a really, really good practice to do with our feet. Massaging your feet, taking the time and attention with your feet is really good, right? We're on our feet all day long. We walk on them. We need to take care of them. I am guilty of not taking care of my feet. And this is something that I have tried to put into my practice, my morning ritual, is to have these by my bed and to be able to roll my feet out before I get out of bed. And sometimes I really notice the difference big time, especially if I'm really active throughout the day. So here we go. The arch of your foot, the ball of your foot, and the heel of your foot. We're going to be coming from the arch of the foot first, going all the way up to the ball, and then down to the heel. We'll go all the way back up, and we'll wrap our toes around the ball, and then side to side movements. Okay, so place that ball right at the arch of the foot. We're coming all the way up, so let that ball kind of come to the wrist area, and then all the way down. And apply as much pressure as you would like to. So we're coming up and down. We'll go all the way up to the ball of the foot. Adjust your hand so that it's on the ball nice and securely, and then wrap your toes around, and you can press into the ball just a little bit. You can come all the way from the ball, all the way from the base of the big toe to the little toe, and just rock and roll all the way down the foot. Good. All the way back up and down. I'm going to do it standing as well. If you'd like to, and you feel like this is good enough, I'd like to just do the other foot. You can pause the video. If you feel like you'd like a little bit more, I'm going to show you how you can stand on the myofascial ball and get a little bit more pressure in. So let's go ahead and stand. And if you'd like to, you can use your block. It's a little bit extra kind of like elevated if you have issues with your knees or anything like that, like straightening the knee, you can bring that on the block or your books, whichever you would like to. And I'm actually going to leave it right here just for my video here to make sure that you guys can see everything that's going on. So we're going to place the ball at the curve of where our arch is at. And same thing, you're going to come all the way down to your ball and then all the way to the heel. All the way to the ball, all the way to the heel. And this just helps us to apply a little bit more pressure because we have our body weight, we can put a lot more pressure into that space. We can stop wherever we'd like to, bend in, really lean in, get a little bit deeper. So feel that freedom to do that same exact thing here, finding those little spaces and leaning in. All right, we'll come back onto our mats. Bringing that block at the top of our mat, we're going to come onto our chest. And we're going to work just this little area right where our shoulder blade is, right in between the shoulder blade and the pectoral muscle. So we're going to get that little space here. A lot of times there's a lot of tension there, especially if we're on our computers a lot and we're kind of hovered over. This really helps to roll out those spaces, and our arms gives us a little broadening through the chest. And so this is great for those of us who maybe have some rounding in the shoulders, or maybe do sit at our desk a lot and find this rounding motion to be cumbersome to our chest, and we feel that pain in our chest. So one ball is all we'll need. We'll place that again right between where the shoulder is and our pectoral muscle. So coming onto our belly, all the way down. We'll place that right in between there. You can bring your hand out to the left if you'd like to. You can also lift it a little bit, maybe bend the elbow, and you can just bring your right side of your head to the ground. And just lean in here. Use that right hand as kind of like an anchor for the body. You can use it to press up against and give yourself the space to move right and left. So we'll move right and left first. Again, you can bring your hand out to the side if that feels better, kind of like a half T. And then once you find that little space that you notice that there's a little bit of tension in, or you notice that, oh, that feels like, okay, I could lean into that. Then go ahead and stop there and lean in. Maybe bring your head to the ground. You can also elevate if you feel like that is too much to put my head on the ground. You can also use your block to elevate you a little bit more too. And then you want to bring your palm facing your left leg. And we'll lean in a little bit more, kind of let that wrap around, your shoulder wrap around the myofascial ball. And just pause there. And then freedom to move to that other side. Again, just for the sake of time, giving you that invitation to pause. And I'm going to come all the way up, seated here. Thank you so much for joining me today. It has been my pleasure, my honor to guide you through this practice. I am so excited that you stepped foot into this space today, and hope that you come back for many, many more of our practices. Today, a lot of the props that you saw here are available on our website, shoppurposeculture.com. These great rollout balls are from Herbivore. They are one of my favorites. Love them so much. This mat is from Scoria, and they are also on our website. So glad you came. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a great week.